Good day, everybody. Welcome to Toolbox Talk with S.H.E Masters. My name is Maseho Zululekhoe, well known, and this is Toolbox Talk with S.H.E Masters, where we are discussing issues of health and safety across all industries. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to our conversation today, where we are hosting one of our leaders when it comes to road safety, the funding organization or an organization that is actually dealing with, road safety. And we are talking about MVA Fund. Before we start, I would like you to engage with me. Tell me where you are connecting from, who you are, so that we can get to know each other. Like I said, this is Toolbox Talk with S.H.E Masters, and we are bringing to you issues of health and safety across all industries. Today, in particular, we are going to be talking, or we are going to be addressing the topic uh, road safety is child safety. Why are we talking about this? Is because every time we talk about road safety and we kind of exclude, the issue of child safety. But these are the two things that we cannot, uh, talk about them inseparable. So it is very important that when you talk about road safety, we consider the child, we consider the passengers, not only adults, not only drivers, but also the child. This is where now we are going to be talking to the relevant organization or the relevant authorities who are in charge of this road safety and who can give us more information on the what's and not to do when it comes to road safety, and also to give us more information on child safety in relation to road safety. With me today, I have MVA, injury uh, injury prevention manager, Mr. TT, known by that, and Tatayone Mogakangwe, who I am hosting today. So, welcome everybody. Please feel free to use the chat box today as we go on with our show. This is Toolbox Talk with S.H.E Masters, and we are talking road safety as child safety. I'm going to go on and call on Mr. Tataone to introduce himself, who he is, where he's coming from, a little background about him. Welcome, Mr. Tataone. Welcome to Toolbox Talk with S.H.E Masters.
Thank you very much, Masejo, and thank you for having me on your show today. And I'm delighted. I'm happy to be here representing Motor Vehicle Accident Fund.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure, say. So, Mr. Tatawane, I'm going to be calling you TT as we have said. Yes,
Please do.
we're going to be happy having this conversation today to, to raise awareness, to give information to Botswana out there and everybody out there, to a child, to a driver, to a passenger, to everybody. So before we go on, I'd like you to just give us a bit of introduction about yourself.
All right. As has been said, my name's Tatayone Mokakangwe. I'm currently based in Gaborone, working for the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund. I'm the injury prevention manager at MVA Fund. We call it MVA Fund, just in short. And injury prevention manager. A lot of people usually ask me or raise their eyebrows when I speak about injury prevention. But in a nutshell, it's just road safety promotion, because what I do is to promote the safe route of the road by all road users, be they drivers, be they passengers, be they cyclists or pedestrians. So basically, injury prevention is aimed at reducing road crash-related injuries. That is what I do at MVA Fund.
Oh, great stuff. Reducing road crash accidents. That's really good. So, you are talking about yourself as and your role in at MVA, but what exactly is MVA? Let us take it to Motswana at home. What exactly is MVA?
Okay, Motor Vehicle Accident Fund is parastatal. We are not a company for profit. We are actually an arm of government. We are wholly owned by the government, just like your water utilities corporations and what have you. And the mandate of the fund or the purpose for which the fund was established was to assist road crash victims depending on how they have been affected by the road traffic crashes. And our assistance is in the form of benefits, where you, as a road crash victim, you would lodge a claim with us, depending on how the road accident has affected you. And for that, you will get compensated. Compensation, I know when I speak compensation, people will be thinking about, am I going to get money in the bank? No, we are not going to give you money to go and deposit in your bank. We will ensure that from the accident scene, you are evacuated to the nearest appropriate facility where you can get help. Remember, our mandate or our vision is called it's best chance to normal life. So our job starts immediately when the accident happens. We evacuate you through our partnership with private medical emergency medical services. They will take you to the nearest facility, medical facility, where you will get your treatment. And depending on how you have been affected, like I said, some people are left seriously injured, some with minor injuries, whereby they are treated and discharged. But those with serious injuries, that would even include fractures and what have you. We even over and above the medical assistance that we give you by being paid for, and this is in the case of where people have been admitted to private facilities. We even go to the extent of rehabilitation. We even go to the extent of making sure that you undergo your physios. We even make sure that depending on how, let's say for instance, you are now wheel-bound or wheelchair bound, we will go to the extent of even modifying your home, your house, to accommodate the wheelchair. So basically, this is what Motor Vehicle Accident Fund is doing insofar as compensating and rehabilitating victims of road traffic crashes. But over and above that, we also have the mandate to promote road safety, because we really don't want anybody to end up in a situation where they are clients of MVA Fund. Because once you are a client at MVA Fund, you should know that something has terribly gone wrong. You may be with a fractured leg or with a broken leg, or you may be affected in a very disturbing way, if I may use that word. So over and above providing that support in the form of benefits, in the form of compensation, we also want people to be aware and to be alive to the dangers and the risks associated with using the road, so that they don't end up being clients at MVA Fund.
Yes, oh my. I very much agree with you there when you say the main purpose is not to have clients, but actually to raise awareness to prevent those accidents coming where you end up having clients, which is a very important part that you have said there. And again, when you mention the compensation, most of the time when you talk about compensation, you are always thinking that you'll be having money in the bank, and what you are giving, the clarity that you are giving, is very useful, and I hope Batswana are appreciating it at home. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Toolbox Talk with She Masters, and today we are hosting our very own Motor Vehicle Accident Fund, who are here to explain to us issues of road safety and also in relation to child safety. Feel free to put your comments down there in the chat box. We will attend to them as we go on, and also continue to share and invite your friends and family to this informative session. We are here with Retatayaone Mokakangwe, who is the Injury Prevention Manager from MVA. Rita Tayone, thank you very much for that deliberation. You have mentioned a lot of things of interest that are really eye-opening, and you have mentioned that you are also not, only looking at, after the accident or after the incidents have occurred. You are looking at the proactive measures of preventing, incidents from occurring, risk management. That's where we are now. Now, let us talk about. Just give us an overview of, the road safety issues that we have there in Botswana, especially during this time of COVID-19, in relation to child safety, in relation to children as passengers in this issue, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Maseko. And to that, I would say, yes, our child population in Botswana are not spared also from being involved in road traffic accidents. But let us look at how they are involved. We know that in Botswana, mostly, a lot of kids or a lot of children go to school or they walk to school. Yes, quite a considerable number of parents have taken the initiative to either drop off their children at schools or even have them being picked up by school buses and so forth. But a large number, a large population of them, I would say they walk to school and from school back home. And this on its own exposes them to the risk of being involved in road traffic crashes. You would recall that during the month of May, through the United Nations, we were observing what we call the Global Road Safety Week. And the theme for that week was advocating for safer speeds around areas like your school zones, your hospitals, and the speed that we're advocating for as road safety practitioners is 30 kilometers per an hour around those zones. And this is so that should a driver come and should a child, children are children, Masego. When crossing
Exactly.
the road, you find them either they are busy attending to something
Mm.
or they are disturbed by
They're just
something.
being children, you
Yes,
know.
some of them would even be kicking a ball while
Mm.
crossing the road. So you can imagine if a driver comes and doing speeds that are above 30 kilometers, because with 30 kilometers per an hour, even if there is that crash that involves a child, the chances of survival for that child are very high as opposed to when the vehicle was doing any other speeds above 30 kilometers per an hour. Remember, these are people who are still in their formative years. Even their body structures are not as strong as that for me and you.
Yeah.
And like I'm saying, in Botswana, yes, we see, even though I don't have the statistics readily available with me here, but we see the involvement. We see kids being involved, especially as pedestrians, being hit, especially around school zones. We are just, we are just we've been in winter, we are just about to get into summer. And luckily, because really, as you asked, what is happening now in the era of COVID-19, we've seen movements being restricted.
Mm.
But until a week or two back, that's when we saw a declaration that schools should be closed temporarily while the country is still dealing with the surge in the number of COVID-19 cases. And for now, I would say in that period, or during such periods where you don't have children going to school, then you can be rest assured to know that you won't be having any child-related accidents. But as soon as schools reopen, and I was going to highlight that during winter times, you would know that schools start early, and if it's for kids who walk to school, we tend to, as parents, want to dress them warmly, and usually you dress them warmly in dark clothes, such that they are not visible enough to motorists, especially where they have to go to school in the early hours of the morning. So that is where the risk is. And also in Botswana, Masego, most schools, I would say 98% of schools, they have a road that passes through, or just opposite or
Definitely.
just adjacent to the school. So that on its own also poses that risk. And if you have drivers who really are not obedient to speed limits, that's where we usually see the danger being more prominent.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you very much for that elaboration. So, what with all the risks that we are seeing here, with all the things that are happening here now, what are the interventions? What is it that is being put in place from NVA side or from the nation side, to actually address this risk or these challenges that we are seeing, as you have been mentioning?
Yes, Maseko, MVA Fund is not working in isolation. We are working with other key stakeholders in the promotion of road safety. And I would mention a few of them. Key when it comes to this topic that we are discussing today is the Department of Roads, or those that are responsible for the infrastructure or the road infrastructure. These are the people that we always engage with them for them to erect appropriate signs in school zones, for them to make sure that pedestrian crossings around school zones are marked and they are visible. And if there are any other traffic calming measures that can be put in the road infrastructure to prevent speeding motorists, especially, we really advocate for that. And like I'm saying, the Department of Roads then would really be one of the key stakeholders that come to mind. We also have the Department of Road Transport and Safety. These are also at national level. They are charged with the responsibility of promotion of road safety within the country under the Ministry of Transport and Communications. We also have our key players in the Botswana Police Traffic Division to make sure that law enforcement is carried out, and we work in partnership with these people. And over and above that, Masego, we have also engaged members of the community, and this is how we have engaged members of the community. We have non-governmental organizations that we are working with. There are youth clubs that we work with, that we really encourage and we empower them with all the necessary information and relevant information. And with that, we have been able to achieve the implementation of road safety clubs within schools. And those road safety clubs have ended up being able to carry out scholar patrols in the mornings. Scholar patrols are those activities where you aid school-going kids to be able to cross the road by having those stop and go signs in the mornings, just to enable to get motorists to stop and pave way for students to cross safely to the other side of the road, either to or from school. So these are some of the initiatives that we have in place, working with other stakeholders. But when it comes to the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund, we also have, I would say it's a flagship program. It's called a Mobile Children Traffic School. Here we have equipment that is able to simulate or with that equipment, we are able to simulate real-time traffic environment and go out to schools in what we call remote areas,
Yes.
so that we impart the knowledge even with kids at those areas, so that when they also graduate to higher schools and now they have to come to towns and cities where we have a totally different traffic setup, then they're able to also cope with the traffic situation in built-up areas, in urban areas, and in your cities in being either Francistown or Gaborone.
Exactly. I was just going to go to that one to say that, yes, we have these lovely interventions that we are putting in place, but unfortunately, because of our geographical areas where we have been placed, geographically, what about those that are far from, areas where they have lots of roads and all that? Because a child who is in Gaborone is totally different from a child who is far, far, far up north there, or, in rural areas, where there are no roads at all. And those children, when they grow up, they come to the city, they just get confused because they are not aware, they haven't seen roads like this before. So what is it that you are doing, or your interventions are doing, to address that? And I'm happy that you are mentioning such a very important intervention, as in terms of the bus that you have there, that is actually promoting that is really good. Reta Tayani. This is Toolbox Talk with She Masters, and we appreciate everybody who has joined us here today. And please make sure that you like the page, you also share it, you share the program with everybody. This is where we are talking issues of health and safety across all industries, and today we have MVA fund, of which we are talking road safety in collaboration or in relation to child safety, because the two cannot be separated. And we continue with our conversation today with Mr. Tatayane Mogakangwe, who is the Injury Prevention Manager at MVA. Going forth, Mr. Titi,
Amen.
can I be held accountable as a citizen of Botswana or as a person in Botswana? Can I be held accountable if I am not doing anything in relation to ensuring, child safety?
Of course, it would depend, and I'll speak from the Road Traffic Act perspective. This is the piece of legislation within which it regulates traffic and everything that has to do with traffic. So, in that act, firstly, as a, let me speak to motorists here. As a motorist or as a parent, who will be transporting kids to and from school. The law requires that every passenger in a vehicle that has been equipped with safety belts, every passenger has to be putting on that safety belt. Now, when it comes to children, we have children who are still in their formative years, who also the law requires that they have to be securely placed in child restraints, or what is commonly known as the child seats. So, yes, the law is there to hold you accountable as a parent who neglects who neglects this piece of requirement. And of course, in Botswana, Masego, yes, it's a topical issue because, first of all, most people, at least those that I've come into contact with, or those that I've interacted with as we do our public education campaigns, most parents would point to the first reason that they would say is that the child restraints or your child seats are not affordable. And they'll bring in the issue of cost. If it's not the issue of cost, you find that the child seat or the child restraint is there in the vehicle, but the child has not been placed and securely placed in that. And if you ask the parent for what is happening here, then the parent will point to the child refusing to get into that child restraint or child seat. And this is, I think, where we really need to, or we are working to empowering parents to say, really, a child cannot be the one who dictates where they're going to sit.
Exactly.
Also, in doing that, in also getting them to appreciate the reason why they have to sit in that child restraint, do not use the police as an excuse. If you are going to say to your child, you have to sit on that because we are approaching a roadblock, then the child is going to grow up knowing that you only do this for
Yeah.
you go through a police roadblock. But you really have to sit down and explain to the child why you are doing that it's for their own safety. And if children understand at that early age that it's for nothing other than their own safety to be put in that restraint, then you would see them transforming to being responsible passengers who, whenever they get into a vehicle, the first thing they do will be to buckle up.
We are actually grooming a safety conscious generation. We are actually grooming a safety conscious child, whom, like you said, we are not only saying that we want to scare them for them to react to do the right thing, but rather we are actually, empowering them to know what the right thing is for them, for it to be in their system and do it even unconsciously. They have to do it all the time, which is a very good point that you are raising there. And I agree with you again when you say that, you know what, we don't have to have a reason not to do the right thing. We don't have to have explanations. If it's not right, it's not right. We have to look at the result or the upcoming, if we don't do this, what is going to happen?
Yes,
Why
I
are we
think
doing this?
yes,
Yes.
I think
Hmm.
we should also always have the end picture in mind. That
Hmm.
what if we should always asking ourselves those what if
Exactly.
questions. If this
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go right, what is it that could happen? And you can imagine a child as a passenger aged 5, or let me use the 5-year-old
Mm.
as an example, being in that vehicle, and the parent also over speeding and doing maybe 180 or 200 kilometers per an hour, because we've seen some drivers driving at those speeds, and that
Mm.
child is not restrained. And usually the tendency is that the child will be sitting in between the driver and passenger seats,
Yes. Mm.
holding himself onto those
Oh.
two seats. You can
Mm.
imagine if anything is to happen and the vehicle has to come to a sudden stop, the first thing that is going to happen is that that child is going to be thrown out of that vehicle, and he or she is going to be thrown out from that vehicle at the very speed that at which the vehicle was traveling. And you can
Exactly.
ask yourself whether there are any chances of survival for that child.
And we are actually bringing up reasons why we are not doing the right thing. So but Titi, do you think that the way we are grooming our children as Botswana, as Africans, just to say, you know, is it a way in which that we are grooming them to, to teach them to, to actually talk to them, to say that, are we giving them enough communication? Are we communicating well with our children to actually give them reasons why things should be the way they are, why we are saying don't do this, or we are just imposing, no, 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 that's not good, that's not good? What do you think there? Do we think that we have a gap there as well?
I think yes, we have, I would say, a cultural gap or a
Mm,
mindset gap. But again, Masego, remember that Africa is still a developing continent.
mm-hmm.
It's only until recent that most families, I'll speak from the Botswana perspective, it's only until
Yes.
recent that most families were able to afford a vehicle or a motor car. Um, the time when I grew up, at least,
Mm,
it wasn't every other family that had a vehicle within their
mm,
homestead. And we've seen this being now made easy by the importation of these gray imports from these other countries that I don't want to mention. But that has really made it easy for families to acquire vehicles. But I think in acquiring those vehicles, which I'm not saying it's wrong, I think then we overlook what it is that really comes with owning a vehicle. What responsibilities do I have as the owner of this vehicle? Uh, Owning a vehicle in Africa is still a prestige. It comes with that excitement. It comes with that show off, and I think it's all those things that we are considered with, as opposed to the issue of safety. We would overlook all the safety requirements to safely operate your motor vehicle, but we will just do anything else that would actually go and show the rest of society that yes, indeed, this guy has also acquired himself a machine. So I think there's that cultural gap, and we really need to work on the mindset change to say owning a vehicle comes with these responsibilities that one has to really ensure.
exactly, exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. Everything, if you have to introduce a new thing, it comes with change, and change is a process that we need to, do step by step. Thank you very much, Mr. Tatayane. This is Toolbox Talk with She Masters, and with me, I have Mr. Tatayane Mukakangwe from MVA, and we are talking road safety as child safety. We continue, and we are going to come to conclusion of our program. But before we go, I just want us now to look at this point, TT. Let's talk about duty of care. It's
Okay.
me here, and I have my vehicle here with my kids and all that. And I'm not doing anything right. I'm not having my children in the on the car seat or the seatbelt or anything that I need to use, to ensure their safety. You know, as people around me, relatives, whoever that is within me in that environment, do I have duty of care? What is it that I can do to ensure that I speak out, or I ensure that those children are protected? because they are also my responsibility, and see what is it that I have to do. Is there anything that you recommend, or is there anything that we say, if I do it, this is against the law or not against the law? And also to me, who's not actually in the car, or that person who's not actually in the car, who's just seeing from a distance.
I would go back to the point that I made earlier that as when I gave an example of a parent who fails to convincingly put their child on a child
Mm,
restraint or a child seat, that if you can't convince your child, the next thing that you resort to is to scare them with the presence of the police. You see,
mm,
that's where we go wrong, because you are now abdicating your responsibility. You are not able to demonstrate that you have authority over that child, and the only option that you have is to scare the child with the presence of the police. Now, what is going to happen when the police officer is there, is not there on the road to monitor the situation? So in response to your question, I think it also boils back to our orientation, to our culture, to how we see things. um, I sometimes wish we could react the same way we react when you see a stranger maybe breaking into a house of your neighbor. The first thing
very
that you
true.
do, you scream, you call the
Exactly.
police and what have you. But
That's
what
a
is
good
it
point.
that you do? Yes, what is it that you do as Masejo in your street
Mm,
when you see this habitual maybe neighbor of your neighbor of
mm,
yours who is always speeding right in front of your gate? What do you do?
mm-hmm,
What do the community around that do? But
mm,
what in most instances I've seen is that we would even praise the particular person to say, you know, this guy, yeah,
mm,
once you start hearing the roaring sound of his vehicle approaching, we start
mm,
clapping hands. Yeah, it's this guy. But why can't we scream out? Why can't
mm.
we make noise about it? Why can't
We kind of
we
encourage that negative behavior, that
exactly?
unpleasant behavior.
And this is where, as MVA Fund, we have said, let's partner with members of the community, and in raising awareness and sensitizing them on the risks associated with these things. Then we
Mm,
can only hope that in the future, then we would react the same way as as you see. Excuse me, myself. Can I just switch on
yes,
my
please. Yes,
just
please.
a second? All right. Thank you. Sorry
Yes.
about.
No problem. Go ahead.
I was saying, we are working. We have a strategy at NVA Fund where the aim of that strategy is for us to see, change in the mindsets of people insofar as road traffic accidents are concerned. What is it that you do as Masejo when you are driving behind my car and I go through a red light? My number plate is there. Take that,
Mm,
call the police, show that you are also concerned. Don't just say,
mm,
it doesn't bother me, because that person going through a red light, he may come into contact with another vehicle going the opposite direction. And in that vehicle or coming or going the opposite direction, there may be your cousin, there may be your parent, there may be your
exactly.
friend, there may be your colleague, there may
Mm,
be somebody that you know. How are you going
mm.
to feel as Masejo if that happens right in front of your eyes and you are not able to say something and make noise about it? So we are really
You
pushing. That's why
definitely
we
feel
work.
responsible.
Yes,
You
that's
are
why we are
responsible in a way.
that,
Mm,
that's why we are working with the police. And remember, policing in Botswana, they also do it in partnership with the community, because the police will tell
exactly.
you that we also do not have enough resources to be chasing after
Mm,
wrongdoers. So members of the community should also come on board to assist us. And the simplest, myself, is the example that I gave, that if we have somebody in your neighborhood who you always see and witness not driving carefully, what is it that you do as an
mm.
individual?
Exactly. It is our responsibility. Road safety, child safety, safety in general is everybody's responsibility. We cannot say these people or this organization is responsible for safety. Even your own personal being, your own self, your own family, you have got responsibility for safety. And it begins with us as an individual. It begins with you as an individual to ensure that you are safe and the people around you are safe. And that person around you could be the passenger, your fellow passenger, or your fellow traffic, people that you meet on the traffic day, or road users, everybody in the community. It is your responsibility as well. Mr. Tadayone, I would really like to appreciate you for coming on board to, gracing our, appreciating and, honoring our invitation as MVA representative at TOOLBOX Talk. We really appreciate that. Sorry about that. I got cut a little bit there. We really appreciate your presence here. And before we go forth, before we go away, let us now look at this, Mr. Tatayone. What advice can you give to fellow citizens, me, you, everybody in the country, and everybody that you can think of, children, parents, everybody?
All right,
What
thank you,
give
Masero.
us today?
Okay, for that, I would say, fellow countrymen who are in Botswana, the country is facing a scourge, a rise in the number of COVID-19 positive cases. There's an outcry, Masero. I'm sure even where you are following closely what is happening back home here. And one of the preventative measures of the spread of COVID-19 is to avoid unnecessary movements. And this is also true in avoiding exposure to road traffic crashes. Let's avoid unnecessary movement. Let's avoid just getting into a vehicle and hearing that Masego is hosting a party in Muchudi or in Francistown, and you just get into that vehicle and go. Should you really be going to that party? Should ask yourself before you embark on any journey, is it really, 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 really necessary to undertake that journey? In that way, you see, you'll be killing two birds with one stone. You'll be guarding against yourself contracting the virus, and also guarding against yourself being involved in a road traffic crash. And really, while COVID-19, yes, it's here with its devastating effects. For us on the road safety side, because movements were at some point restricted, we saw a decline in the number of road traffic crashes. So I can only urge fellow Botswana to change the way we do things. If I have to go and pay my headman at the cattle post, these days, those headmen, you find that they have a gadget in a small cell phone, even if it's not a smartphone. But there are these ways that you can e-wallet, you can send money electronically for them. So this is where I really want to urge fellow countrymen to start considering these things and doing things differently. And in that way, like I'm saying, would be killing two birds with one stone.
Thank you very much, Ramon Kakangwe. What you just said there is really right that, we are under a pandemic. We are suffering from a pandemic that we really don't want to complicate things, as you are saying. Let us actually, do what is really necessary. They do what we can to ensure that we deal with the pandemic and not bring other issues like, road traffic accidents like that are going to actually even make the burden that we are facing now even more. So it is absolutely up to us as citizens to do the right thing. It's only a matter of doing the right thing, and also to encourage each other to, be fellow citizens, talk to your fellow citizens to do it. But this is not right. Let's try. If what if you do it this way, to be there for each other, not actually to police. We are not policing each other, but we are actually being there for each other to say, but this is the right thing. If we could try it this way, maybe it could be better. At the end of the day, we are a Botswana, and we are doing all this for our country. We are all doing this for our children, for our next generation, to ensure their safety. Road safety, it is child safety. We cannot separate it. Lastly, Ramo Kakangwe, like I said, I thank you very much. Now, for that person at home, you have been talking about a lot of things, compensation, what MVA fund does, and all that. The the collaborations that you have with the community. I believe that is also a cry to say that whoever is there, the trust that are there, whoever is there, the communities that are there that want to do something, we are here as MVA. Come to us. So for me to come to you, for those people to come to where do they go? How do they reach you?
All right. Thank you, Masero, for that. MVA Fund has got offices in the following places. We have an office in Gaborone. We have an office in Palape. We have an office in Silibepikwe, Francistown, Maung, and Kang. So you can see we have strategically covered all four corners of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And we are also available on social media platforms. We are available on Facebook. Our Facebook page is MVA Fund Botswana. We are available on Instagram. We are available on Twitter. We are available on YouTube. Just search MVA Fund Botswana. We also have a website, www.mvafund.bw, or you can just call our toll-free number, 0800 600 739.
So during this time of COVID, I believe that you are not really, encouraging people to walk in your offices. So the numbers and the emails, whatever that you have given there, I believe would be the best way to actually contact you.
Of course.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Are Tatayane Mokakangwe from MVA. We really appreciate your information, all the information that you have given us. And I believe persona out there have really appreciated you. And I hope to see you again on our show to discuss even more issues relating to road safety. Thank you very much, Say.
Thank you, Masewa, and have a nice day, and
Thank
always keep safe.
thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Toolbox Talk with the She Masters, and with me today I had MVA Fund being represented by the Injury Prevention Manager, Mr. Tatayane Mugagangwe, whom we were talking about road safety is child safety. The two can never be separated. It is your responsibility as a citizen. It is your responsibility as a fellow person in Botswana out there, a driver, pedestrian, whoever you are, that we ensure that, whatever that we do on the roads, our roads remain safe, to adhere to the speed limit, to adhere to the rules of the road, to take care, to ensure safety for our children. Remember, they are still growing. They are just innocent. They are doing things, innocently, but it is also our responsibility to guide them accordingly, to show them the do's and the don'ts, the right and the wrong, not actually to scare them with the forces out there. It is your responsibility to ensure your safety and the safety of the people around you, and that includes your children. MVA, Motor Vehicle Accident Fund, has stated a lot of things that I believe that with this video, with the recording, you will go back and also, listen to it and understand what exactly they were saying. And like he said, you can still go to them. Their offices are open. Contact them, email, WhatsApp, Instagram, everywhere, social media platforms, even contact phones that you can contact them to get more information. With us from She Masters, would like to say thank you very much for attending, for gracing our show today, for attending our show today, for joining us today. And we hope to see you again next week as we continue to talk about issues of health and safety in all industries. Remember, we have programs that She Masters are offering as in terms of health and safety courses, healthcare courses, and other courses that of which you can get more information on our website. And also you can call our number 72784597 to get more information. Do remember that if you want to take part in this show, feel free to contact us on our website there and also on the numbers that are provided there for you. We have a very good thing coming up, a very good event coming up, which is the first ever School Safety Summit, where we are now going to be talking about, the integration of health and safety in schools. We know what is going on now, but then what is it that we are supposed to do? This is what She Masters is bringing to you and on the 2nd of November at Avani. We hope to see you there, and we wish you a great day. Thank you very much from She Masters team.